Cyberpunk came out about 2 minutes ago, so we have built an ultimate gaming PC to see exactly how far we can push the game. So let's see exactly what an RTX 3090 can do when it's paired up with the best that Team Blue has got to offer. So starting out with, we have the MSI MPG SEKIRA 500X case. So MSI has a number of different lines, starting with MEG on the high end, which is for enthusiast gaming. That's usually where you get like the very high-end stuff. But also they have their MPG line. That is meant as the MSI performance line of gaming products, and that's usually where you're gonna find the best price to performance with getting some high-end gear without breaking the bank. But they also do have MAG, which is MSI Arsenal Gaming. This is very heavy. Oh. And MAG is where you get some more of the entry-level components when it comes to building your gaming PC. So not only does this have a removable bracket for your radiator, which we're gonna be using a 360mm radiator, but on top of that, you also have a very nice little bag it's in. Ooh, oh dude, wait, oh no! It's a glass rear panel, which means I have to do cable management. So we've got 5 fans pre-installed. Are you kidding me? Oh yeah, it has 4 LED fans in the chassis, right? So 4 LED fans plus 1 non-LED. So powering the build, we have the Corsair HX1000. I will say I haven't spent a lot of time with the 10th gen i9, but I have heard rumors and stories that it will suck up about as much power as you can throw at it, which is nice because we have a 360mm radiator to cool it. All right, so we're just gonna drop the power supply in for right now. We'll plug in our cables later. Next up, we have the MSI MEG Z490 Ace. Now this should have pretty much everything we need, including not only a 16-phase power design, but we also have dedicated Corsair coolers for our M2 SSDs, and wow, it's got some heft. So not only do we have 2.5 gig Ethernet, but we also have Wi-Fi 6 built in, which is certainly nice. And you do have coolers for 3 M2 drives, which is nice. We're only gonna be taking advantage of 1 for this video. On the CPU side, we have the latest Core i9-10900K. Now, while yes, AMD versus Intel is a fun subject right now, but this is as high as it gets on the Intel side. So we've got a 10-core CPU that can clock up to 5.3 gigahertz. That's a nice package. All right, I'll give them that. Just set this right here. Okay. And so with that, we have our 10900K installed. Next up, let's load it up with 32 gigs of Corsair Vengeance RGB Pro RAM. I'll say actually for a lot of the builds we've been using this year, the RGB Pro has actually been really nice. And even though it is completely and totally unnecessary for what we're using this PC for, we do have only 2 DIMMs here, which means that we can easily upgrade to 64 gigs if for some bizarre reason we want to. There we go, 32 gigs, DDR4 memory. Look how easy this is. It's almost as if I've done this before. Next up, we have the Corsair Mp6000. Again, this is something that we've used a couple times in the past. I think we have 2 of these in our ultimate AMD system. 2 terabytes of pretty much the fastest storage that money can buy. This thing will read at almost 5 gigabytes per second. And one of the nice things about this is that it actually should be able to, even though it obviously ships with this very large heatsink, I think we can actually take that off and install it right here, because I believe that this heatsink here should do the job. Put the camera down. I definitely didn't just screw this up, and I have to gently extract it. I slightly misaligned it, okay? So with our plastic shield removed, we should be able to just rotate this around and drop it right back into place over the top of our SSD. All right, I think that'll do it. Okay, so with our CPU, our RAM, and our SSD installed, next, let's actually get this thing installed into our case. All right, cool, so that looks pretty much lined up. Now, we have our motherboard in place. That is starting to take shape. Next, let's get the biggest of the chunkuses of them all, the RTX 3090 with a ridiculously high TDP, I think 3 8-pin GPU, like PCI connectors to power this thing. I mean, it is a monster. So this is the RTX 3090. So the entire thing is cooled by the Trifrozer 3 design, which you can see if you look at that heatsink, it's a very unique design. You also have the Torx 4.0 fans, and you've got those direct heat pipes, which you can kind of see if you look in here, but it is enormous. I mean, it is hard to put into words just how big and beefy this graphics card is. So depending on how you want to do this build, you actually can use a vertical GPU right here. So it comes with everything you need, including it has a little slot. Personally, I still like the look of a GPU that's mounted traditionally, quote unquote, directly into the board, but that is an option if you want to go for it. Now, with half our PCI slots out, or over half of them, let's install the 3090. So essentially this bracket still allows you to use the bottom PCI slots, but it gives you a lot more support because this card is heavy. Yeah, there we go. I'll definitely hand tighten that one. Next up, we have to cool our 10900K. So that is where this comes in, our removable radiator bracket. So we have a 360mm radiator for this, but the question is going to be how are we going to mount everything? So this is the MAG CORELIQUID 360R. So with a 360 radiator, we're pretty much taking full advantage of the top part of this chassis. And it does have the ARGB fans. What I'm really curious about is how we're gonna get this mounted. So first thing, let's get the fans on this plate and see how the fitment is. I think it'll be fine, and then if it looks good, I'd say let's cable up everything and actually drop it on the CPU. All right, so I have the radiator mostly all set. So it looks like a little bit of a mess right now, but essentially we have all of our fans connected together, all daisy chained up, and then I've got the low noise adapter, so we'll just plug this straight into the CPU fan. And then behind that, I've got a couple of other cables run. Now, while I've been doing that, Ken flipped over our top 200mm fans. So originally these were designed to do intake through the top, which makes sense if we were gonna be running without a radiator, but because we have the radiator, I'd rather have the air kind of flow up, so it goes through the fans, through the radiator, and then exhausted out through the top. So essentially we have a push-pull configuration, plus we have these big RGB fans, which are gonna look cool. So we're gonna have RGB fan up front, here, 3 here, 2 on top, and then we will have RGB on the case and maybe a little bit on the board. I haven't actually fired it up to see. And then on top of all of that, we're gonna have Core i9, 3090, 32 gigs of RAM, 2 terabyte SSD, 1000 watt power supply. I think this is actually gonna look really cool. So this is the completed MSI gaming PC build. So since we last spoke, we have a couple of updates. So we did end up going with some extensions to get some slightly nicer looking cable management. We also tuned everything with, surprise, surprise, the red, white, and black theme, which I think actually goes really well with the colors of the system, right? I mean, you've obviously got like the white MSI logo here. We've got our Corsair RAM. We also did some tweaking to try to get the levels of everything right. The 3090, that LED is bright. That's at like 20% brightness right there, but I think it's pretty well sorted. One of my favorite parts of the system, now that we've got it all up and running, listen to this. It's almost dead silent, which is really nice, especially considering that we've got serious hardware in here, right? So why don't we jump in to some Call of Duty, shall we, and see, oh, I guess I'll play campaign. So it should be a surprise to exactly no one that we're going to be playing on full ultra settings with ray tracing enabled. So we are using the MSI 34-inch gaming monitor, which actually has some really nice features. Not only is it 21:9 and 144 Hz, but you actually have an integrated camera mount, so you can do things like streaming right off the monitor. You also have this little bungee for cable management, specifically for your mouse and maybe your keyboard. You've got a webcam, as well as an ambient light sensor to adjust things like brightness, and you have your RGB strip on the bottom. So even with full ultra settings, ray tracing, all enabled, we're still getting like 100 frames per second right now. And obviously that's a testament to how ridiculously overpowered this 3090 is. Welcome back to present day. So, Cyberpunk has come out about 5 minutes ago since we started recording this video. So let's see exactly what we can do with the 3090 and with that i9. High, ultra. I want this to psycho. Disable copyright music. Nice touch. All right, we'll turn that on. I think besides that, we're good to go. So let's see how the system that we've built, the ultimate MSI system, can handle Cyberpunk. We're pretty much at 60 FPS with everything on psycho, including the ray tracing. This game is so demanding when it is flexing a 3090. Oh, there we go. Dude, this looks so good. And we're getting like 70 FPS. They're like flexing that ray tracing too. It might not be quite as noticeable when it's daytime, but you can see how like natural the light looks. But just how filmic everything is, like the softness really does give it a lot more of that sort of like realistic look. I might sound really lame right now, acting like, oh, look at all the shadows and the stuff. But the thing is, Cyberpunk is, in my opinion, one of the real true next-gen titles, right? Sure, this is available for like the Xbox One and the PS4 and stuff, but specifically here on PC, this is the Ultra, this is the Max, this is where you can really flex not only the game with some of these next-gen visuals, but importantly, you can flex your hardware, right? I mean, we're looking at an RTX 3090, a Core i9, and even that is really what you need to get this sort of psycho high-end ultra level of performance. So thank you very much for watching. Feel free to check out all of the parts that we use for this build in the description. And again, huge thank you to MSI for sponsoring this video. Now, if you excuse me, I'm gonna go play more of this without spoiling it for you. If I can figure out how to try it the wrong